Hi, this is Jamila. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year to you and your family. 2020 is here. First off, I want to say that I am so grateful for 2019 because I was able to go to Nigeria and I was able to meet my family in 2019, and it has really changed my life tremendously. I know that I will never be the same. My children and hopefully generations will be impacted, but 2019 definitely was an amazing year for me. So I am in the process of getting the video translated from the ceremony that my family gave me while in Nigeria. But while I'm doing that, I'm waiting for that, I've decided to just go ahead and finish my thoughts on the trip, just finish the trip in general. So with that being said, I'm gonna just move right into where I left off last time, which was the moving into the compound. So as I told you guys before, what happened was, we were at the family function, we had the ceremony, and my eldest cousin, one of my older cousins, was speaking with my friend who had brought me there, and he was saying that, thank you so much for bringing, our sister home, but we will take it from here. So they didn't want me to stay in a hotel. They wanted me to stay with them in the family compound, one of the family compounds, and for the rest of my trip, and that they would be responsible for getting me from their house to the airport when it was time for me to go back. And so, I was nervous, of course, extremely nervous, but really not. Like, really, in a regular circumstance, there's no way in the world that I would ever stay with any stranger, period. But it wasn't a stranger. Like, to me, there was a familiarity with them. There was, good intentions. I just felt everything was positive, and I felt like I had been guided this far to them. Like, it just didn't make any sense to get scared and run, now. So I thought the offer was incredibly generous. I had been paying for a hotel for me and for my friend the whole time that I was there. So that would be one less thing I had to do, A. And B, I would have time to get to know them. They were going to have the New Yam Festival that weekend, so me being there would be perfect, so that I could experience that. They were going to have company and all kinds of stuff. So, of course, that was a yes for me. I didn't even spend a lot of time thinking about it. It was just a yes, of course. Thank you so much. So we set a date. I think 2 days later, I was supposed to be at their place, in the morning to, get settled in and get ready for the festivities of the weekend. So that day came, which was a Friday, and it didn't quite work out that way. My friend, she has some errands and stuff she needed to run, which was cool. I mean, she brought me out here, so I'm gonna roll with her, until I get dropped off. So that was that. We went to buy a goat. So that was the first time I've ever, seen anything like that, any type of transaction with goats or anything like that. I don't eat goat myself. I've never bought a goat. So yeah, that was new and interesting, but she told me, it was very important that she get one. She bought two. She bought two for her family. So we went to this place that was near the river, the Niger, and she negotiated for the goats, which I thought was just so dramatic. It was so dramatic, the negotiations for the goats. The guy who owned the goats, he seemed like he didn't want to sell them, and I don't know if that was his act or what. I think it was his act, and so there was a lot of push and pull. She would say one number, he would feel sad or whatever, and it just kind of went on for like hours. And then finally she was able to purchase the two goats, and they put them in the back of the car. So we were, my driver he drove a minivan. So, they tied him up and put them in the back of the minivan, and we all got in, and it was off to the next thing. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. So it was very interesting. They were crying. They sounded like humans. Like the way they were crying, they sounded like a person, crying. It was just interesting. So anyway, we bought the goats, and then we had to run a few more errands. I ran a few more errands with her, and then it kind of got a little late. So we went back to the hotel, and then I took a shower. It was really hot that day. I think in Nigeria, 2 showers a day is not, unusual. So I took a shower to freshen up, got dressed, and we went to her parents' house for, to see them and whatnot before I would head over to my family's house. So when I got to my family's house, it was late. And if you haven't been to the village, for those of us, Black Americans who haven't been to the village, it's like there's no lights. So there's no street lights, to walk your path or anything like that. It's just completely dark at night. Matter of fact, it gets dark so quickly. Like it's almost dark and then it's dark. Like there is no in between there. It's like, oh, it looks like it's getting dark, then it's dark. So it's very dark. So, but the driver made it through. Like he still got me to my family's house from her family's house, which was not very far at all. Probably about less than 5-minute drive. And they were waiting for me. And when I got there, they received all of us. Everybody got out. Some of her brothers came too as well to see me off. And it was so interesting because our families know each other. Like they actually, like, how is that possible? That I'm all the way in the United States, that I would meet a person, who was actually from, the area where my village is, my ancestral village, and that her family in Nigeria knows my family in Nigeria. Like that's a whole separate video, but that is just amazing to me, to all of us. We were all, every time the story is told, it's just like nobody can believe it. But she brought some of her brothers who knew my cousins, and then so everybody just came in and sat down, and I'll show clips of that because I have some video from that where we kind of just did a whole nother little mini ceremony where they were pouring out libations, they're passing around drinks, and just saying prayers, and whatnot. And so they did that, and then it was it was really dark, but inside the compound there were lights, so that's how we were able to do that. But then it got time for me to go to bring my stuff to my new room. And so everybody walked me up. It was like up 3 flights of stairs to where my room was. And that's where I was going to be staying for the next few days. And so everybody came with me. And then, we just gave each other our goodbyes, my friend and her brothers and whatnot. Just not that I wouldn't see them again, but that I would be staying with my family and I would see them, through the weekend. Right. So said our goodbyes and whatnot. And then, they kind of just left me there to, get settled in. So hanging with my family the next day, I got some rest that day. It was very comfortable. Like the accommodations at my family's home it was better than the hotel. It really was. I mean, I enjoyed the hotel. Don't get me wrong. It was nice, but it was nicer to be under my family's roof. There was, pictures everywhere, family, and, I was able to go through and look through them and ask questions, talk to them. They fed me, it was great, just being there that night and then waking up in the morning to, our party. So I sleep late. I do. I don't wake up early unless I plan to wake up early. But in Nigeria, I kind of just didn't plan to wake up early. So, when I woke up, things were already going on. Like the music, the DJ was already there. People were coming in, and it was just exciting. It was an exciting time for the New Yam Festival. So, the New Yam Festival came. My cousin had like a band, and then there was like just people, lots of people, family members, people from the village. It was cool. So I am posting, some clips and videos in there from that. but it was a wonderful experience. I got to sit in the big chair, the chief's chair. My cousin had them in his obi, so it's like a separate house, within the compound. There was like 3 or 4 houses within one compound. It was the main house, which I lived in. There was another bigger house on the other side of that one, which belongs to the eldest cousin. And then there was the Obi, which was a smaller house in the front, and then there was another smaller house in the back. So it was pretty big, and the house was manned by armed guards. So, I mean, I slept well. I slept well. They didn't have armed guards at the hotel that I know of or that I seen, but these ones I could see because they just walked around with their guns, most of the time, manning the gate and stuff like that. So it was a very secure place. I felt secure. I felt comfortable. I slept well, like a baby. There was AC in my room, my own bathroom. Actually, I shared the floor with my cousin, and so we both had that bathroom and had that area. But it was nice. New Yam Festival was amazing. I was just like in shock, just watching, everything take place. To see my cousins dance, like they're chiefs. So both of them who are brothers, they're chiefs, and the eldest member of our family, if you've seen the picture, the one that looked like the most, he's also like a chief. So I know that my cousins are pretty important. So they wore their hats and their canes and everything, and they were dancing with the bands. It was amazing. I tried to get as much footage as possible because it was just beautiful. And then at one point my cousin was like, okay, it's your turn to dance. And I'm like, no. No, I don't dance. I don't dance at all. Not unless it's like a choreographed dance that I've practiced for weeks. I don't just on the spot start dancing. So the reason I don't dance is because I don't know how. And it's strange because I have the Igbo DNA, Nigerian, African, DNA mixed in me. I should be an excellent dancer, but I'm not. The reason is because my mother was not. My mother never taught me. And the reason she didn't teach me was because my grandmother, her mother, thought that any type of dancing that was outside of church was demonic. It was, devil dancing or something like that. So she wasn't allowed to dance when she was younger. Therefore, she didn't teach me because she never learned. And so the tradition carried on. Now, I love dancing, but, like choreographed steps. However, I'm learning now, that is the way. That's what, Igbos do when they, get together and meet in a function. There's always dancing. So I'm learning. It's tough, but I'm hanging in there, and I'm learning how to. So I actually did extend my trip to stay with my cousin, and I had decided that on the day of the ceremony, because as I told you guys before in the previous video, I got really homesick, and I changed my flight. I changed it. I moved it up a few days, and because I was homesick at that moment, and then I started having so much fun when I got to the village, and then when I met my family, I was like, oh, that's just not enough days, that I have left. And I really want to, see more, do more, be with them more. So I changed my ticket back. And yes, that did cost me a pretty penny, but it was worth every dollar, like every cent. It was worth it. I would do it again. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have let fear jump on me the first time, and I wouldn't have lost that money, but it doesn't matter because I feel like I didn't lose the money. I felt like it was well spent for me. But I extended it back a few days to the original time that I was originally going to leave, and I was to stay with my family until that time for me to go to the airport, in which they would take me themselves. So, my least favorite part of my trip was leaving. And it's so strange for me because, I'm not super emotional, and I've never gone anywhere where I cried when I left. Like, even going home to New Orleans to see my family, I took my husband there last year. We spent time, and then when it was time to go, it was just time to go. We went to the airport, we left. I didn't really feel the need to cry or anything like that. But when I left Nigeria, emotions overwhelmed me. And you know, I don't know how quite to explain it. It just was super, super sad for me. I woke up early, you know, because I had an early flight, was going to take me. I had changed my flight, so I did a lot of changes. I flew in from Enugu, as you guys know, but I actually left at a different airport. I think it was in Aba, I want to say. So I left from a different airport to get to Abuja, which I'm really glad that I did, because actually that airport was much closer to me and Enugu was much further away from me. The roads to Enugu were bad. The roads to this airport were perfect. So it was just like, I don't know why, you know, I didn't fly into this airport, which was much better. But anyway, we woke up early. My cousin, his wife, his kids, everybody was awake. And everybody was downstairs, you know, waiting for me to come down and to give me hugs and, you know, just wish me well and things like that. And oh my God, I think it started there, because I started to get bubbled up emotional. And then my friend, she came, her and her sister came from their village. They came and met us at my family's compound to ride with us together to the airport. Yes, I did yesterday.
This island is growing from it, but before it wasn't.
This will be the longest bridge in Nigeria.
So I even cried on the plane. It was a mess. But I flew to Abuja, and I knew that, you know, okay, I'm by myself. I'm by myself. My friend is not with me. All right, don't mess this up. But don't get me wrong, I was not afraid. Like, I'm not. I'm very independent, and, you know, I'm very strong. You know, I feel like I'm brave. I'll put it like that. I mean, I can handle most things. When I got there, because I'd been to the airport now like 3 or 4 times, I knew exactly what to do. I went and I looked for help, you know, someone to help me with my bags. And then, you know, went to call an Uber. I prefer Uber in Abuja. It's just easier. So I did that from my phone, found my Uber driver, which was harder to do because of the airport, the way everything is, you know, set up. But I got my own Uber. I went straight to the Sheraton Hotel because I was going to meet somebody there. And I had some business to take care of before my next flight. So I know it's more expensive to do what I did. I don't think I would do it again when I go back. I will not do this again. But I checked into the Sheraton knowing that I wasn't going to stay the night. I checked in to have a place to leave my bags so that I can go with my friend and her son to go and pick up some clothes someone made me in Abuja. So we stopped at the boutique and we did that. And then we went back to the Wusa market. Because I needed to get food stuff. You know, you can't leave without food stuff. My friend kept telling me that you need to get your food stuff. You need to get your food stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna need that. But then I realized, yes, I do need that because I want to make my own soup. I love soup. Like, I love soup. Like, I love bitter leaf soup. And I like you know, I like all of them, you know, really. But bitter leaf is my favorite. But I love the bitter leaf with the okra. That's my second favorite. I just love soup. So we went to Wusa Market, which was just madness. Just so many people. You know, we're on a time schedule here. I had to get through the market fast enough to get back to the hotel to meet another seamstress who was coming to bring me more clothes. So I had actually got fitted for clothes when I first got to Abuja. And one boutique was in Abuja. The other one was actually in the village, but she also worked in Abuja. So I got measured in Abuja for both of them the first time I was there. So basically I had to go through the market. We got all kinds of stuff. We got dry fish, we got stockfish, we got bitter leaf, we had just everything. The only thing I didn't get was the ogiri and the other one. I didn't get those and I had to pay for them here, which was not good. But I got it from someone else, so I got it. But while I was there, I had a good amount of food. I had I can't think of it, but I had seeds, I had all kinds of stuff. Like it was a lot of stuff. So we got all the stuff. I even bought some other things. I bought like some braided wigs, and for my sister, she said she wanted one. So, you know, I really didn't want to haggle because I was on a time crunch, but I haggled a little bit. Well, but the person I was with haggled for me. So we did that, and we got back to the hotel. And then, sure enough, the other seamstress was waiting with my clothes. So I had to try all those on, make sure they fit, and then pack all those. So my in-law, or my friend's in-law, so my in-law, she was stuffing up my suitcases for me. I had actually had to buy an extra suitcase while I was in Onitsha, and I had 3 suitcases. 2 were being checked, and 1 was carry-on. So, and they were all filled to the brim. You couldn't fit anything else in there. And then they all left, and I realized I had not eaten, and I didn't have time to sleep. So before my next flight, so I was just ready to pull my hair out at that moment, because I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay. Let's handle the most important thing first, which is eating, and I'll sleep on the plane. So that's what I tackled. So I went down to the restaurant that we had went there the last breakfast that we were there. So I figured they, you know, probably have good food for lunch too. And they were closed. And I was like, no way. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna starve. What am I gonna do? And so I really wanted soup. You know, I'm leaving, I want soup. You know, where else am I gonna get soup? So the guy told me, I go to the Italian restaurant. They might be open inside the Sheraton. So I went there, and I'm like, I need soup. That's the first thing I said. That's the first. I don't know what possessed me to ask these people for soup when it says this is an Italian restaurant. But I looked at the waiter, and I'm like, I need soup. I'm leaving today, and I really need some soup. And so he understood me. Like we had a connection, and he understood that I needed soup. So, you know, he told me the price and told me to go sit down. He would get it for me. And sure enough, he came back with some soup, and it was the okra. So I don't want to say anything to mispronounce anything. So it was the bitter leaf okra one that I really like. And oh my gosh, and the fufu and the Coke. And let me tell you, I looked at my watch. I had like 30 minutes, and I just started chucking the soup and fufu, because I don't know what it is, but the soup and fufu was like medicine my whole trip. Like if I hadn't eaten a while, if I was hungry, whatever the case may be, I think I ate soup 3 times a day some days. Like most days I did. And so that's why I was like, I need soup. So I got the soup. Like I said, he got it for me, secured it for me. I think I gave him like 3,000 naira, and it was worth every penny. I ate that soup so fast, and the fufu. And then after that, I really didn't even have any time to do anything except for grab my bags and get a ride. So since we were staying at the Sheraton, they have rides there. You know, all you have to do is ask. And so I just, you know, asked the front desk, or, you know, the people who work downstairs, told them that I was going to the airport and I needed a ride. And they got me a ride right away. So just recapping, all the things I bought fabric from Onitsha. I bought like African print fabric, which was so cheap, ridiculously cheap. So I bought a bunch of those. I had lace fabric from Onitsha, again, very cheap. I had a bunch of stuff like cultural beads, headpieces, all the stuff we got from Onitsha. I had that, heavy. I had canes. I bought my son a cane, and the 2 babies had canes. I had 3 canes in my suitcase, which was for this ceremony thing that we were doing, a show that we were gonna do back home. So I carried that. Then I had the seamstresses make clothes for me and my husband. So I had 2 sets of seamstress clothes that I ordered, all that in my bag. Plus I had food stuff. So I had all the stuff I got from the market, all that food in a nut bag. So basically I was over by $400 for my luggage. I was over by $400, and I'm sitting there looking at the lady like, you got to be kidding me. And she was like, no ma'am, you know, this is how much. So we rearranged some stuff. You know, I put some stuff in my purse, which is, you know, a large bucket bag. So I was able to drop some stuff in there, put some more stuff in my carry-on, and it still cost me like, I don't know, $350, you know. I think first it was $500, then it went down like $380. So I still had to pay $380 and carry that extra stuff around. So I was not happy at all. But I wasn't gonna leave anything. So like I was like, we bought gelles, different colors. We bought, oh my gosh. Like I can sit here and tell you, we had so much fun shopping in the Onisha market and in the Wusa market in Abuja. It's not even funny. And if I would have stayed any more days, I would have got even more stuff, I can tell you. So anyway, that was the gist of it. I had to pay an extra $380 to get on the airplane with all my stuff. And it was hard. So that was that. From there, flew to Germany. From Germany, of course, they frisked me. They asked me a bunch of questions. Coming from Africa, yeah, I was about to get an attitude about it. You know, when I got to Germany, how they wanted to, you know, screen me again and this and that, put me through the ringer. But you know what? I was like, it's not worth it. I want to get home. So, but I forgot to mention on the way back home, as God would have it, as the ancestors would have it, I flew back first class and I didn't pay a penny for an upgrade. Now, how did I do that? I don't even know. I literally checked in with all my 3,000 bags, you know, 3,000-pound bags. I went down to the area where I was supposed to wait for my plane, and some lady who was upstairs who had checked me in came all the way downstairs to find me to tell me that she upgraded my ticket. She didn't tell me why she upgraded it. She just said she upgraded my ticket, and she literally gave me a new ticket and walked away. And I was just like, okay, thank you. I didn't even know where I was gonna sit. I looked at it, and sure enough, it was first class. So I got to stretch out in a bed and sleep. So it was awesome, to Germany. And on the first class flight, I looked around, there was nothing but people my color. And I was like, wow, you know, this is nice. I really enjoyed that. Like, it was just nice to see even kids and families, you know, all flying first class. It was amazing. I liked it. I've never flown first class before in my life, and that was my first time flying it. And, you know, it kind of spoils you a little bit. But when I got to Germany, actually the lady there, this German lady, you know, she wasn't trying to have that. She was like, you know, you're not going to ride first class on my flight, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, whatever, I don't really care. You know, I didn't buy a first class ticket anyway. You know, I thought about giving her money to upgrade my ticket, but I was like, nah, never mind. I don't care. You know, so I went and sat down, and then as soon as we all got in line, I was the last person to board, because when I got to the front, my ticket wasn't right. She said, something's wrong with your seat. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I came up to you 3 times. You never said anything like that. So anyway, I waited. Finally, she called me up and she said, well, I had to move you to first class. So here you go. She didn't want to move me. But guess what? I was riding first class. Yeah. Again, now that was nice, because that was like a 10-hour, you know, plus flight, and I was riding first class, and I was just laying in the bed and drinking champagne and just really feeling myself. I was just reflecting, you know, on this trip and on everything that God has brought me through. And I know that something supernatural was happening, you know, this entire time. And this ride back first class was just, you know, it was just the icing on the cake. You know, it was just capping it off, like, to remember that this trip was special, I think. So, I mean, I feel blessed. I really do. It was an amazing trip, and I can't wait to go back. So I know you guys might be wondering, or maybe not, like, what does a person do after they have found their ancestry? And that's a really good question. And I will reserve that for the next video, because it's been a long journey for me, and there's so much I want to tell you about what I'm doing right now, and I think you will enjoy it. So please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and then the notification bell if you want to see more videos, which I plan to do, definitely. And thank you for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.